nobody. I don't care who it is. This is a brotherhood. And if we stand strong together, we can't be denied. If one of us goes down, we have another, and another, and another that's ready to fight. So let's hit this field and bang them, bang them, bang them. Somebody, light me up.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire podcast. A proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB, and we are also a member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. I am your host, Andrew, and welcome back to the Turf District tonight. We have a very fun show planned as we are joined by a couple of our very good friends that come in to talk football with us. Very excited to get to that. But first, let's, of course, go to our regular crew, starting with, just a moment here. Let's make sure that we actually can see him properly because this is all shifting on me. There we are. Let's get to the one and only Superfan Mike. There is the jazz.
There it is.
We've all know and love.
That's right.
It's
Hopefully
wonderful.
everyone can hear me and we're not echoing, but we'll see.
No, it should not be echoing. I actually tested all the audio before we
Like
actually
it you go. I like the transition, the flip. It was very nice.
You did like that?
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's very good. Although now you're getting all of a sudden your camera decided it needed to zoom in on you. So we just really wanted to see those glasses. That's really
3D House of Me.
Perfect. You know what? It's can't get enough of that.
No.
Next, of course, to your podcast left, kind of, sort of, is the one and only Kayla. How are you,
I'm somewhere on the chart.
I know you're around. That's very good. Look at this fancy setup you got going on this evening.
I keep switching because you gotta go closer to the monitor, but also good lighting, but not really. And you gotta keep it a mystery.
This seems really homey. It's like you're in the Friendly Giants house.
Look way up.
Look, a little. Is there a rocking chair beside you? Because that would be perfect.
Just a little one.
I'll lie. Yes, it's my mom's, teeny tiny.
Just a teeny one. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what we'll take what we can get. We're not picky. All right, let's bring in our guests, because this is a very exciting show. This is the first time that we're trying to do 5 of us all at once on here.
Whoa.
And so joining us, all in their pandemic hairdos and all, it is only Morley Scott and Dave Campbell. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Good to see all the hairs, as long as it's been in, I would actually say years. I'm going to let it go a little bit further before I make a decision on whether I'm keeping it or not. So
I'm just impressed I can grow hair this long still.
It's actually kind of cool to see Dave. I haven't seen Dave in like 3 months, so it's kind of neat to see him.
Good to see you, brother.
Well, that's you know what? That's why we do this every 2 weeks, so we can still see people.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
get it. Yeah. So what have you guys been doing? How are you holding up through all of this?
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, Morley and I have been working from home since I started work on March the 16th, I think, and you were a little bit later, weren't you, Morley? But
17th.
You weren't too far after. Yeah,
that was
you weren't
the
too
next
far. Yeah, so it's been different. Working from home is not always, it's comfortable, but it's not always practical. It's not always the best way to do things, but I think you learn to adapt. And it's amazing in our industry, Morley and I, that, 5 years ago, could we do what we do now back then? 10 years ago, could we do what we do now back then? The answer is probably no, or not as well. So that's been impressive. The technology is so good now that we could, broadcast live from our homes, or do whatever we need to do at home, almost what we could do at the radio station. I miss the station. I miss hanging out with or working with a lot of people, especially Morley. Reed Wilkins I talk to almost every day, and I haven't seen him in 3 months as well. And there's a slew of other people that I miss as well. But it's it's something that you'll never forget and you'll talk about for a long, long time once we're through all this stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
Today was day 50 for me doing morning sports from my luxurious home office here. So I've gotten into quite the routine in here. It's been palatable for me. I miss people though. Usually I say I don't like people. Actually found out through all this that I do. I miss talking to people. I miss seeing people. I miss having conversations. But hey, we're getting through. We're doing what we have to do to survive right now. And I will say I like the dress code at my new office, and I like the commute in my new office. Today's. If I stood up, I'd prove it to you that I haven't got out of my sleep pants all day long. So there's been some.
We're good.
Good save.
What?
Oh, good shirt though.
Yes.
Outstanding.
The shirt is perfect though. We'll give you that.
It is. It was good for the moment. It worked for today. I thought it was. It was today's T-shirt.
Yeah, what gave you the idea to start with the today's T-shirts? That's awesome.
I don't know. First off, I have a lot of T-shirts.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I did it the first day. I kind of saying, "Hey, I like the dress code. I'm here." I didn't at that time think I would be sitting at home doing sports for 3 months plus, but that's how it turned out. Today was day 50. I've only repeated one shirt, and that was the CFL diversity shirt, which I thought needed repeating last week. And I've allowed my grandson Milo to come in on the last couple of Fridays with a T-shirt. But other than that, it's been me. So that's 3. So I've done 47 different T-shirts. So I still got some left. So I don't know if I can go much past 70 days or so. I might have to buy some shirts.
That'll make it interesting. That's true. Let's zap this, and we'll have all 5 of us on the screen. Although for some reason,
it's more
Dave's
easier.
A little small there, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Hey,
there we go.
Did everyone watch the CFL replay this week where the Esks shut out the Riders?
Oh, spoilers! I had it on
PVR.
It's a 5-year-old game.
I know.
Okay.
You know me. I don't remember like last week's game if there was one, but.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. I'll definitely take that. That's fine.
Do you guys remember calling that game?
I remembered a little bit. After a while, they kind of, especially for us old guys, the memory goes a little bit. But I do remember. I do remember it was a great atmosphere, and it was obviously a good finish to the football game and a good result. I do remember it a little bit. I found it kind of neat. I didn't watch a lot of it on Friday. It's on the PVR, and I will get to it. But I did notice on Friday night, it was neat on social media seeing some of the players tweeting about the game. They were sitting at home watching it. I know Eddie Steele was one of them. It was showing some highlights a little bit on Snapchat of his plays. He got a sack in that game, and he replayed it a couple of times. So it was kind of neat to relive it and have see some player reaction to it as well as we went through the game. I have that game. I was just looking at my PVR earlier today. I got hockey games from the 80s, a couple from the 70s. I got a couple of Expos games that they've replayed. I've got a couple of Eskimo games that they've replayed in the CFL games. So I got a lot of old sports to watch on my PVR at some point. So it's been kind of interesting. I'm kind of tired of old games, but I'd like to watch some new ones.
Right.
Me too.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. Well, one of the questions that leads into it is we ask everybody now, if you could program the CFL replay, what 2 games would you choose?
For me, it would be the Grey Cup game was good, but in 2015. But I'll always remember the Western Final, and I didn't call the Grey Cup. I called the Western Final, so I have a little bit different memories of it. I know they've already replayed that and watched it. That was a good one. That would be one of them for me. I'm trying to think. You know what? That overtime game against Ottawa the next year to start the season, that was a pretty good game too, despite the outcome of the game. It was a pretty good game. And what was it, 2017? Anything in that first half of the season when they started the year, 7-0, 8-0, 7-0, I think it was, before all the injuries caught up with them. Anything in that stretch, because it was such entertaining football.
What about you, Dave?
I would say 2015 West Final for sure.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was magical. I mean, it was just pure joy, 110% pure joy. And the second game I would pick is a game back in August of 2009. It was a game against the Calgary Stampeders. It was a back and forth affair. And Ricky Ray hit Fred Stamps with 9 seconds left to win the football game. And that was probably probably for a regular season game was the most electric atmosphere I ever remember at Commonwealth. So those are the two games that I would pick: the 2015 West Final and that regular season game in August in 2009 against the Stampeders.
That Labor Day win, what was that, 2011? That'd be nice to watch that again too.
They actually won a Labor Day game.
I really don't have to say the year, do I, for the Labor Day win?
The thing about
I've only seen 2 wins on Labor Day in time I've called games in 2008 and 2011, and then we saw them win a game in McMahon in 2015 in the regular season. In the game in October. I think it was like 16-12 or something like that. But trips down Highway 2 South they suck.
Like I said, that thing about that 2009 game was that Chris Cuthbert call was amazing too.
Yeah, Fred Stamps touchdown. Yeah, and do you believe it? I think was the succession. Yeah, so it was a tremendous game.
Man, that brings like goosebumps and tears all at the same time, because we know where Chris Cuthbert is going, moving on to Sportsnet to do hockey. Incredible loss for the whole CFL community. A little choked at hopefully he can still narrate my life someday. We'll hold out hope. But do you have any good CC stories for us?
I'll go first, I guess. I was just texting with him today and talking to him a little bit today, and I know he's going to be on with Reed Wilkins later in the week. I will miss the pre-games with Chris Cuthbert, because every game he was doing that the Eskimos were playing, he would always walk into the booth pre-game. We'd have 5 or 10 minute conversation depending on what time of day it was, and he'd always enlighten me on a few things and ask me some things that have been going on with the Eskimos during the week. And I just always loved catching up with him. I spent a lot of time with him when I was doing hockey too, because I crossed paths a lot. But I'm gonna miss seeing Chris for sure before football games down the road, because it was always fun to talk with him. I always, to me, he's the best, right? He's the best in my mind, especially when you think about hockey and football, how he's done it both and done both of them at an elite level. My work ritual is the day after the game, I watch the game on TV. And if I ever had treated a play the same way I hear Chris Cuthbert treat the play, or hear him say something that I said during that play, I'd always give a little fist pump, because I think, yeah, I said the same thing Chris Cuthbert said, so I'm doing okay.
Dave?
Well, I would say, and I tweeted this out on Friday, is for a man who has accomplished what he has in his career. I mean, he called the gold medal game in 2010 when Sidney Crosby scored the winner over the U.S. in overtime. He's called numerous Grey Cups. He's called Olympics. He's called NHL. He's called so many things and accomplished so much. I've never met a man more humble than him. He could have an ego the size of the 2 Earths, 3 Earths, the whole universe, 10 times over, and he doesn't. He's just a very grounded individual. Don't get fooled by his humility in his class, because he is one of the most dedicated professional people I've ever been around. I'll miss the conversations. How's that water, Morley? Clean. But he's a tremendous person, and I will miss the pregame meetings, or I call them meetings, the get-togethers. We've had a few post-game with him too. And especially after losses, we would have some really interesting conversations. But overall, he is just a heck of a person. And I talked to him on Friday, and he said, "Dave, this was a hard decision. He loves the CFL. He loves it. I mean, you got to, he talks about the stage of life that he's in. I mean, this is a chance to call Hockey Night in Canada again, and he's going to get the call to Stanley Cup final now. And you look at what Sportsnet has on their roster. They have Jim Houston, and now they have Chris Cuthbert. That is star power right there. So CC deserves everything he gets because he's worked hard at it, and he's proven that nice guys and good guys don't have to finish last all the time.
If I could say one more thing about him, I'd like to just publicly acknowledge what he did for me too, as well. When I was applying for this job to do Eskimo games, he went to bat for me with a couple of key people and said some nice things about me. So I appreciate him in more ways than one, because he said some good things about me to the right people to help me get this job. So I'm happy. I'm going to miss him for sure. But I'll tell you what, Saturday nights are going to be a whole lot better watching hockey now.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah. No kidding. I guess if we didn't have enough to thank Cuthbert for, now we get to thank him for that too, because we like listening to you. So excellent.
Yeah.
That worked out real well. That was pretty good. Now we're going to talk more on the pod, but I do want to ask you guys, just what is your gut feeling right now? Do you think there will be this shortened season later in the year?
Whew. Boy, that's
a loaded one, right?
It's a tough question to answer, because if I could only tell you what the virus was going to do by then.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know, right? So it's ever changing. Yeah.
I think my best answer is the most, I go back to what Randy Ambrosi said to the House of Commons Finance Committee. He said the most likely scenario is a canceled season. I would probably lean towards that. However, the best case scenario of a shortened season, that's rapidly ascending. And I think the gap is closing. There's just a lot of work that has to be done on both sides, and they haven't really gotten to the guts yet of the health and safety, and of basically you need a COVID CBA. You need to figure out what the financial assistance looks like. And you also need to look at your whole model, your economic model long term, not just this year, but beyond this year. So I think the best case scenario of a shortened season is it's coming in, it's given itself a puncher's chance. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did have a season in September, and I'm definitely hoping for that.
Every day I have a different approach to it. Every day I feel differently. Some days I think it's not going to happen, and other days I'm thinking, well, this has fallen into place for somebody else, and this league's getting going. The biggest thing for me that is the hardship of the CFL is the fans. They operate with fans in the stands. That's in their budget. They need to sell tickets to survive, and that's what this is taking out. The pandemic is taking fans out of the stands and taking ticket revenue away from the Canadian Football League, and I think that's the biggest issue that they have to deal with. If you're talking about bubble cities, where they play all the games in a hub city, that's tough to do. I talked with Randy Ambrosi last week, and he just said, think about the expenses. What is there on a basketball team? There's 12, 15 players, and a hockey team has 23 on the roster. They'll probably have maybe close to 30, but a CFL team's got upwards of 50 players, more coaches, more trainers, way more players. It's pretty expensive to take those 50 players plus coaches plus trainers plus the support staff you need, and go to Winnipeg and live in a hotel for 2 or 3 months and feed them and all that. So I think that's going to be really tough for the CFL to do. I kind of like the one theory that's kind of out there now, which is the adopted team theory, where one team from the East goes to a city in the West and kind of stays there, and they kind of work together and share practice fields and share things. That might be a plan. Then all the games obviously would be played in the West, I would imagine, at that point. But that's a long way from happening. And Brosi, when I did talk to him last week as well, said that he's been charged by the league to also circle a date on the calendar that's the drop dead date, to decide when they can play and when they got to say, we just don't have a future for 2020.
Yeah, wow, scary stuff to think about that, honestly. But that's kind of where we're at, and I want to delve more into that with you guys when we get onto the podcast. But in the meantime, Superfan, we've found a nice way to have our own little league and playing some cold snap.
We have had some
outstanding,
yeah,
and we did have the Battle of the Empire this week, and your jerk of a defense knocked out Ricky Ray, and so I lost the game. Otherwise, I would have won. And we all know that, but That's I'm just saying.
You don't
that's
have the
probably
power
what
of
would've
Marco
happened.
Sin Cara on your side, so
That's very true. Yes, I was missing a mullet. I needed a better mullet. Superfan, you said you had a bit of a hoard and tell for us.
Yeah,
eh?
absolutely. So just the other day, this came in. I did a trade with somebody who figured this should go to a place that would be appreciated. So obviously, I'm a big fan of the Dynasty era of the team, like many of us are. So
no.
this came out, and I think Jerry Cooper might like this one a little bit.
Oh my! Look at that.
There's a University Ed
Ooh.
patch on there. And for those that don't remember the number 29,
What's wrong with you? Yes. No.
yes, Mr. Joe Holloman, who I think actually had did he have an interception or a big kick return in the game we just
Yeah,
played?
he had
So
a big. Yeah, thanks for reminding
absolutely
me.
outstanding.
Thanks, appreciate that. Yeah.
So this is the summer weight. So this would have been the early part of 1982
Wow.
was when he wore this jersey. So lots of repairs on the numbers, everything else. Dwayne was very busy that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is going to definitely have a place of honor here on the wall.
All right,
so
hold that up again, just because now I got your camera working properly, so we can see. Oh, lovely, and the back.
And there it is.
Fancy. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool, man.
Apparently, Jerry Cooper just said, "Oh my God!" So
So it was obviously very good. Yes, and I know that you typed it in
Yeah.
the chat, but Dave Leanne definitely says hello, Dave. So
Hello,
there we
Leanne.
are. Very good. Okay,
there it
excellent.
is.
Wouldn't be right if we didn't do that. Now,
Yeah.
we decided we needed to get some more ideas for a little bit of off-season fun. So we have come up with a movie bracket, that football movie bracket. I'm gonna go right to the bracket right now, so everybody can see. I have got this put together. Now it might be a tad on your screen yet. We will post some of these.
Yeah.
It's a small. It's 32 teams. Like,
Non-existent, really.
don't worry.
Well, it's
There's 32 football movies. All right, let's go with this one, shall I need to figure out how to
a shot of
pan.
those.
I need to do a pan zoom.
Stop
I need
it.
to- All right, here we go. Let's zoom in and look at what movies we will be looking at this week. So
Yes, please.
this is our top left-hand 8
Oh, there we
movies.
go. Now we can see that.
Okay, so let's go through these together and let's see who. Let's put our own votes in early. So the first one is Friday Night Lights versus Everybody's All American.
That's got to be an easy one, I think.
I would think so. Friday Night Lights, of course, the one from 2004, and Everybody's All American in 1988. Let's start with our guests. Do you have a pick between the two of those, Morley?
I'm gonna pick. I'll be honest. I haven't seen a lot of football movies. I have seen Friday Night Lights, so I'd have to vote for that. Although I like the series better than I like the movie, but I'll go for Friday Night Lights. I have not seen Everybody's All American.
Okay, fair enough. Dave?
Friday Night Lights, slam
I
dunk.
kind of figured that might be the case. Kayla, what are you picking?
And go ahead.
I don't. Oh, so go ahead, Dave.
No, I was gonna say Tim McGraw's in that
He
movie,
is.
right? He plays
is.
the drunk
Dad.
dad who is a terrible dad, and that was tough to watch because Tim McGraw's my favorite country artist. So I'm like, no,
Just
No,
watch the blind side.
Obviously, if it affected you that much, he did it well. So we'll take that.
He'll be in a later movie, so that's
Yeah.
good.
There you go. Yeah.
he did a good job.
All right, Kayla, who do you got?
Oh well, Dave, he's in The Blind Side, so go watch that. He's a good dad in that one. It'll redeem
That's
him.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's like three. That's like
Appreciate
three
that.
shows from now before we do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me, it was on the big list. I know none of you believe me, but it's on the big list. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. It took me forever to make this stupid thing, so let's just be happy with
We
it.
appreciate
All
you.
right. Who do you got there?
I don't even think I've watched either. I know, shame.
Oh.
But
I-
Friday Night Lights has James Vanderbeek, right?
No, that would be
No.
Varsity Blues.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, Varsity Blues. See, no, I haven't seen them.
All right. So
Well,
have to
quick,
flip
you've got
it.
time.
that's right.
Watch
Yeah,
it before we
you better
vote.
watch 'em
I
before
know,
we
yeah,
Coin
I have
flip.
to. Shame, I know.
All right, and Superfan, who do you got?
I mean, I love Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
He was great, and everybody's all American. But Friday Night Lights is just iconic. I thought it was a really different kind of movie, done about high school football. It was so well done. The acting was great. The story was great. I got to go with that one.
All right, fair enough, and I would as well. Friday Night Lights. So, all right, next one is The Comebacks from 2007, which is a parody movie, and then Waterboy, which is kind of also a parody movie, but it's a comedy to say the least.
High quality H2O.
Absolutely, I love it. That's what Morley's drinking tonight. We saw and heard it earlier. Yeah,
Yep.
Perfect. All right, Morley, in your high quality H2O, who do you got in that one?
Waterboy. Waterboy.
Figured.
The silly guffaws are I kind of play to those, so I'll take Waterboy.
Nice. Dave?
Stop making fun of me.
So
Waterboy.
Yeah, okay. Commissioner?
I haven't watched the comebacks, but I watched the trailer today, and it looks so
Yeah.
dumb. Like,
It
not
is.
dumb, but just dumb. And you can't, Waterboy. Like,
Okay.
come on.
Super fan?
Oh, this is gonna be a sweep. We
yeah,
know
I
it.
Yeah, both. Some of these ones in the first
Mama
round
said we
are-
got to vote for
yeah,
the Waterboy.
Yeah, most of these are pretty nice. That was a good play. I like that one. All right, and Waterboy it is. Next one, Invincible versus Newt Rockney, which is now.
No, pardon, what was
did I
that?
say it right?
Ooh.
Newt? Canute?
No,
What?
of all the people,
Nut.
what's my name?
Mike?
Keep going.
Oh,
The last name.
Knutson? Yeah. So it's
There we go.
Canute Rockney. Oh,
There we
I didn't
go.
know that. All right then. Well,
Canute Rockney.
that's right.
That's right.
That, especially in this group, yes, Canute Rockney. So that is actually the movie that Ronald Reagan was in, where they came up with the line "Win one for the Gipper." So,
Well, it was based on the real
of course,
story,
but
so
still, yeah, there you go.
yeah.
But the other movie is Invincible. The story of a guy going back to play with the Philadelphia Eagles. Disney movie with Mark Wahlberg. Let's go the opposite way this time, and I'll start with you, Superfan.
Yeah, I got to go with Canute Rockney. Pat O'Brien was great as Rock in this one, and it's just an iconic scene with the deathbed of George Gipp, which is Ronald Reagan's character. I love football history, so this one just is right up my alley, and I've seen it a dozen times.
Wait a second. You like football history? It's weird.
Well, even translate across the border. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's strange. I forgot to say that I would pick Invincible. Okay, Commissioner, what do you got?
Yeah. Ditto Invincible. I love that
All
movie.
right, excellent. Dave?
Well, I can't say that I've seen Newt Rockney or Canute.
There it is.
Nancy tells me it was a great flick. Invincible.
Nice. Good play. I like that. That was good. And Morley?
Win one for the Gipper.
All right.
Attaboy.
I'm going for Canute.
All right. Nice. All right. So that's shake it up a little bit in that one. Okay, and the last match for this in this 2-week period is We Are Marshall versus Brian's Song. So that's a tough pick actually, but I'm gonna go with We Are Marshall. I just think the power after kind of reviving a team after a plane crash is pretty crazy. It's awesome. Super fan.
Oh, I mean, they're both such emotional movies,
Mm-hmm.
both centered around loss. Gail Sayers and Brian Piccolo and Brian's Song. Really great movie. I think it's kind of underrated by people that are under the age of 40, maybe haven't seen it.
What?
So I'm going to throw a vote to Brian's Song. I really love that movie. I mean, they're both great, but that one I've watched many times.
Awesome. Commissioner.
I have to forfeit. I have to watch them.
Okay, gonna watch it. Okay, that's fair.
Although the trailer of We Are Marshall was really good.
It is. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Absolutely. Dave?
Oh, this is tough.
Tough one.
I would have to lean towards Brian's Song.
Okay. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Morley?
I think a lot of people would watch the two of them and say that the We Are Marshall is better just because of the production value, because it was made
Sure.
what year was that? 2000.
It was made in 2000.
What?
And hang on a second. I
Whenever,
have it right here.
whenever.
2006, and Brian's song was
So
1971.
1971. So when you think about if they could make Brian's song with the production values of We Are Marshall, I think Brian's song would be a better movie. I also will pick Brian's song because it is the first movie I ever remember as a kid crying
Oh,
when I watched it.
wow. Yeah,
So there
it's
you go.
very powerful.
Powerful.
It's very, very
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah, sure
And
is.
and Andrew, to be fair, they actually play a dice football game.
Oh,
in it,
that's
so.
true. Excellent.
So-
Does the one cheater knock out the other guy's quarterback and then win the game? Like, does that happen?
I'm pretty sure that's what
Okay,
happens.
good.
Yeah.
Well, then it's exactly like our lives. I should pick Brian's.
Oh,
song.
by the way, in the chat I've been watching, Jerry Cooper did say that Vince Papale
Yes. Yep.
from Invincible, his son Vinny is an Alouette. He thinks.
Oh, I think that's right. Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that just
there you
happened.
go.
Yeah, so that's kinda
Cool.
neat. Yeah.
a little CFL connection from Invincible.
Excellent. Well,
Very good.
so we're gonna have
I like it even more now.
the votes are gonna come here. So starting on Tuesday, Tuesday through Thursday will be the first battle. Then we've got Friday through Sunday, Monday through Wednesday of the following week, and then Thursday through Saturday. And then we will have all of our winners picked before we get to the next show, and we will tell you all the winners, and we will actually put out the next round so that we can actually pick all of these movies. So it's going to be very cool.
Should be fun.
Yes, so it's fun to kind of put some of these things together, but holy crap, is that a lot of work? So I have
You don't
yeah, I was gonna
say.
say, I have even more respect for all the things that you did, Mike, with the PowerPoint and the depth chart. So that was awesome. One last question here before we sign off to go to the pod. Morley, the question came: how did Let's Light This Rocket start?
Let me see. I was thinking, I was taking suggestions from people around me at work and people that I knew because I wanted something, kind of a signature phrase to use. And I think for the first couple or three games, I used a different phrase each time. And when I said "Let's light this rocket," that one kind of just stuck. I just kind of knew that was the one. So yeah, it just morphed into it after a while. It was something I'd planned to do, but I needed to find the right phrase and the right and the right time for it. And I just when I got to it, like I said, first two or three, maybe four games, I used different phrases. I can't remember what they were, but when I said "Let's light this rocket," I said that's it. That's the one I'm going with. So 200 games later, that's the one we're going with.
Oh, that's awesome, and we love it. I mean, that's when Mike and I went to play our game on. We started on Friday night, and as we went to roll the dice, we said, "Let's light this rocket," and away we went.
Nice.
He's
Nice.
playing as the 81 esks, and I'm playing as the 03 esks. So we were playing.
Mike's going to beat you then.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was up 14-0 early, and then Ricky got hurt, and Moss has an interception problem, so we didn't quite get, or at least he did that particular year. So it came down to a Hail Mary, but I couldn't connect the last one to tie up the game and have a shot at it. But it was
and
the game.
And the one thing we know from your team, Andrew, Mike Pringle is angry and very angry all the time.
You know what?
Yes.
I wish he would run that way because he hasn't got. Well, he did have a couple of decent ones in this one. I will say that.
He did.
So you have the 04 Mike Pringle on the 03
Correct.
Eskimos.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
interesting.
understand how that
Okay.
works, but yeah, somehow it's not quite right. But I am playing with.
Who the hell's running this draft?
I'm playing a lot of. I get to play with some of my heroes like AJ Gass and Singor Mobley, so that makes me, and Jason Tucker. So to me, that just it's so fun to play that when you're kind of just taking over and you're hoping that your guy does what you want him to do. It's pretty fun actually. So.
Who do you play next week?
I believe I play the Baltimore Stallions. So I'm
95 Stallions.
Yeah, so it's going to be Pringle versus Pringle.
Oh.
They're both angry.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't say. It's weird.
Do two angries make a happy though?
Let's find out.
We will find out very soon. Well, thanks guys for joining us for the YouTube live. We're going to get to the pod recording now, and of course, thanks Mike for the Horde and Tell, and Commissioner for joining in from the Friendly Giants Castle, because we really appreciate you coming in for that. I know it's quite a stretch for you to make that jump, but thank you. We appreciate it. Once again, I just want to remind you that, of course, we are part of the Alberta Podcast Network, and we will also, we're part of the Canadian Football Podcast Network, so make sure that you're catching up with all of the great shows that are coming out on those. There's a ton of them that have been coming out in the last little while, talking about is there going to be a season and where things are landing, so check out all of our buddies on the Football Podcast Network as well. Thanks again for joining us. I will see if I can find this to work properly. I think we can. And remember, I guess for Morley and Dave and Mike and Kayla, I should have one of those fake mirrors that I'm looking through. I see all these people.
Polka dot door. Nice.
Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely